overtime finish for the Jazz and Thunder. Lots to talk about. Late Night Hoops Nerd post-game show starts now. All right, guys, like the video, subscribe to the channel. Sorry it's a late one. Just a few things. First, just some personal news, and you can ignore it, whatever. It's just a reality that's happened to me. I was recently, and I can now tell this now because I know some people may or may not watch this show that would have found out, but now I can say is I am now in the bishopric in my local LDS ward. So I am going to have a few more things on my plate, and a night like tonight, I had a lot of church duties and then went to watch the game. That's why this is out later. Also, I had to write the recap. So, there may be some nights where these are late. You know me to sometimes be a late night person. Anyway, that's okay. Anyways, just so you know, that's why there may be some nights where it's kind of late. If things get crazy during the season and I'm super whatever, I'm going to try to do these anyway. It may just be late nights here and there during the season. That's okay. Really, like Tuesday, Wednesdays will be a little bit more busy, and obviously Sunday, but the games are later on Sunday. So anyways, that's some personal news. That's why this later. Also, it's just less time. I don't know when I'm going to get this wall finished. I've talked to you guys multiple times. I got to get it done. It's just a blank white wall. It's kind of, and it looks all smudgy because I did some work to fill the holes from the shelves that I removed. I got to get the sign up, but I did agree with some of the people who commented. We're going to do, I think, black, and that'll look cool with the sign. I hope. If it doesn't, then that's going to be... But I talked to Mrs. Hoops Nerd. She agreed that that would be a nice color. Thank you for the suggestions, but I do think a dark background color. Oh, crud. Do I need to edit this really quick? Crud. I got to edit the... Can I edit it live? Shoot. I think I forgot to change the name of the stream. Crud. Well, thank you, Car Wash Channel. I really appreciate it. I will change that once we're done. Anyways, the Utah Jazz lose to the Oklahoma City Thunder in overtime, and it was a crazy one. All right, so we got me small here. Just a little bit about Oklahoma City Thunder, and since it's so late, we may not go quite as long tonight. We'll see, but it was a great one. And just a few thoughts. I mean, I guess before we dive in too much, this is just such a great experience for this Utah Jazz team. The fact that the Jazz have had multiple games like this against some of the best teams in the league, and I know that the Thunder were without, what's his name, Isaiah Hartenstein. Alex Caruso did not play in this one. They still had their top three players, so there still should be a very good team with, Chet Holmgren, SGA, and Jalen Williams, as well as, Dort and other really solid, Cason Wallace, AJ Mitchell. They had a lot of great players playing in this one. So this is, for Utah in Oklahoma City, is just about as impressive as it gets. And it just shows that next year, this Utah Jazz team is going to be good. The question will honestly be just how good. But there were some things that I liked from this one. I mean, you got to give props before we go to the Jazz to SGA, who was just great. I mean, that shot to tie the game to go into overtime was amazing. And just him, 46 points on just great efficiency. He couldn't hit threes, 1 for 8, but from the field, he was awesome. 19 free throws is kind of wild, but you know what? That's how the game is called, I guess. Chet Holmgren was also very good in this one. You can tell there's times where they need Isaiah Hartenstein. So it's, and I think a lot of this losing that the Thunder have been doing recently has been a little bit related to not having Hartenstein. And, sometimes you have a guy like that, you may say like, well, how are the Thunder losing over Hartenstein? How well, when you're used to playing with a certain player like that who does a lot of things that help out someone like Chet Holmgren to not, to kind of adhere to his strengths, all of a sudden when that guy's gone, yes, you still have your best players, but you're now kind of overcompensating for things you didn't have to before. And I just think that the Thunder will figure that out over time. I mean, it's not like they didn't play really well before they had Hartenstein, so they'll figure it out. And Hartenstein will be back, and the Thunder will get back to being just kind of extremely good. So we'll see. But that's all I really got to say about the Thunder. They're great. They've looked very mortal without Isaiah Hartenstein. I think when he gets back, it'll be big, and it might be a sign for this Thunder team to go out and get a big. Honestly, someone like Yusuf Nurkic might be a nice fit for them. Just as a third center. And if they do have Isaiah Hartenstein out, having someone like a Nurkic, if they traded for him from Utah, would be a nice thing because he can bring some size and can allow Chet Holmgren to play off of him a little bit, kind of like what they do with Hartenstein. And Chet and Nurkic has been good for the Jazz. So if I'm the Thunder, I might look at someone like Nurkic to see if I could get a trade done and have him honestly be a nice depth piece. And then you never know when he could bring some important, Nurkic has proven with the Jazz that he could play on a team like this Thunder team if they were in an emergency break in case of emergency type situation, and have Nurkic come in for 5 to 10 minutes. And he's just a big body that rebounds extremely well on the defensive end. He's not an elite player by any means, but he can bring in solid minutes. So a team like the Thunder should definitely look at someone like Nurkic, when they have someone like Hartenstein out, because it will help them out. Something like that would be big for them. For Utah, let's just go through it. I already mentioned, these are the types of games that were that are super impressive for the Utah Jazz, that they can just go toe to toe with the Thunder. It's crazy that the Jazz can get just absolutely boat raced by the Portland Trailblazers. I forgot to change the title, but then come into Oklahoma City and play this well. And, I think a lot of these teams that play this Thunder team, they know they're the champions and they want to show what they got. And that's kind of what Utah did tonight. They just also played really well. Svi Mikhailuk, I'll be honest, he wasn't particularly great. I know he's got a +7 in this one. He had some nice moments, though. 6 assists is nice to see from him, 7 rebounds. I mean, honestly, that's he only played 26 minutes. Svi Mikhailuk, you guys know how I feel. I don't really like the idea of Svi Mikhailuk on this team helping Utah beat some of the worst teams in the league. But then against a team like the Thunder, he can't hardly stay on the floor. He was fine and he did some nice things. He actually played, I would say he played well tonight. But there were some moments where it was I mean, he goes 0 for 5 from 3, and then, he made all 3 of his 2-point shots. But, his skill set is the 3, and it wasn't going down. He missed that last shot in OT, which I was grateful he did. But I don't get the point of this. I really don't. We've talked about it. I don't know how much more I have to say. It doesn't make a lot of sense. Lauri Markkanen, super efficient and played really well in this one. The Thunder are extremely good at creating turnovers, and that's one of the things I always get worried about with Markkanen, and I thought he did pretty well today. I mean, he did have 4 turnovers, and so that's the Thunder, but, a lot of teams and a lot of players are going to do that against an elite team like this Thunder team, and that's just what they do. But Markkanen goes 11 for 19 from the field, 3 for 7 from 3. Nice to see him put up that efficiency against a very, obviously an elite Thunder defense. Just incredible perimeter defense by them. Incredible turnovers at creating turnovers. That's what the Thunder do. And for Markkanen to play this well is great. We talked about Nurkic a little bit. 15 points, 15 rebounds, and 4 assists. 3 steals. I mean, that's why I'm saying someone like the Thunder, if you need some depth, you have Isaiah Hartenstein out. We're less than a month away from trade deadline. Nurkic has a lot of value right now for a team like the Thunder. Now, they're probably not going to give anything more than a second-round pick. I don't know if they have a trade exception they could trade him into, or if you look at their team here, is there something they would be willing to give to the Utah Jazz. I'm not too worried about looking at contracts. Um, it may not be possible, but it's just an example of how Nurkic has value, and he's an expiring contract too. So there's value there, and there were so many people online that when the Jazz made that Colin Sexton trade for Yusuf Nurkic and gave up a second round pick, were complaining like crazy. Well, this type of production is worth a second round pick, I would say. You're never going to get it's very rare, not never. It's rare to get a player put up numbers like this from the second round. Extremely rare. So if we're just talking about value, it was kind of a win for the Jazz. And Sexton is doing pretty well with the Thunder, so it's a win-win. That was a trade where both teams won and can go home happy, I guess. Bryce Sensabaugh had some nice moments in this one. It's interesting. Look at that. 0 for 5 from 3 for Sensabaugh. 0 for 5 from 3 for Mikhailiuk. The guys that are expected to hit those threes couldn't do it, but did find a way to produce in other ways, both Sensabaugh and Mikhailiuk. Sensabaugh had that crazy dunk. I think it was either late in the fourth or in overtime, but just an awesome play. +8 for him. Nice to see Sensabaugh just have some moments where even if the three's not falling, which it has not fallen a lot this season, he can find other ways to contribute. So nice to see. And I like Sensabaugh. I hope that Utah can find a way to keep him. It's going to be interesting offseason coming for Utah because they're going to get another top pick in this draft. They're going to keep this pick. So it's interesting. You got to wonder if the Thunder, just a little bit, we're kind of hoping that Utah might pull this one out because they own the pick from Utah, obviously, if they fall to 9 or later in the draft. This helps the Jazz because a bunch of teams that Utah's hoping they can pass in the lottery lost on like last second shots. The Nets lost a game on a last second shot. The Hornets did too. So Utah had two teams that they could have overcome. Both. Oh, they've actually overtaken the Hornets. It would have been nice to see them drop a little more, but they would have tied with Brooklyn for this 5 spot. And then Washington as well was up at one point and then ended up losing to the Sixers by 21. So not as close in that one. Anyways, good sign that Utah is going to jump possibly 2 spots. I think Utah gets this 3 or 4 spot by the end of the season because I think the Pelicans, if Utah tanks this well, Utah can overtake even them. And I know they've lost 9 in a row and they're trying to win. Pathetic. But Utah is doing a good job of managing this thing. And tonight was honestly, what's it called? Grasping defeat from the jaws of victory in the best way possible. And I kind of am happy I didn't see this one live because this would have had me distraught, right? Markkanen makes that shot at the very end. 3 seconds left. SGA gets the ball, knocks it down, and I'm sure the Tank fans were breathing sighs of relief, and those who want to win were more sad. But it's okay. I felt like Keontae George was awesome in this. Just awesome. He is getting the brunt of the, Dort and Kaysen Wallace. And yeah, he goes 9 for 22, 40% from the field, 2 for 9 from 3. So the shooting wasn't perfect, but 11 assists in this one, 25 points. He is just getting more and more poised. I think it's only a matter of time in the next 2 or 3 seasons that Keontae George is all NBA because he's just finding ways to make everyone on this team better. Now, it kind of depends on what happens in the draft. Let's say the Jazz are lucky. And, that tweet from Tony Jones was interesting that every NBA team has Darren Peterson like number 1, which when you watch him, I mean, he put up like 40 points in 30-something minutes, didn't even play the whole game for Kansas. It's hard to argue. That guy is so good. He really is just the next SGA. And so it'd be interesting if the Jazz won and bring in Darren Peterson next to Keontae George and how that works, because I think he can play off the ball. That's actually one thing I was thinking about, and I'm glad I brought that up. But I think these minutes where Keontae George is playing shooting guard next to Isaiah Collier and next to Walter Clayton is really nice, actually, because it is giving him some development chance and just figuring out how to be effective off the ball. Because let's say the Jazz do win the number 1 or the number 2 pick, they're likely picking Darren Peterson or AJ DeBonsa in that situation. And those guys, you want the ball in their hands. And so if Utah comes out of this draft with one of those two, it'll be nice that Keontae George has had all these minutes playing off of Collier, playing off of Walter Clayton, even a little bit of Bryce Sensabaugh. So when those guys come in, he kind of knows how to do it. Because you know what? When you get Darren Peterson on the floor, you're going to want the ball in his hands, you know? And the fact that Keontae George can play off of Darren Peterson and you can have that defensive focus on someone like that, Keontae George, we'll see. He may just have just crazy efficiency, right? Taking advantage of secondary and third defenders. And then you can kind of imagine what will happen with Lauri Markkanen. We just need to win the lottery, guys. We win this lottery, and I'm telling you, this is what we were dreaming of. This is what we were hoping for. You are seeing the light, right? We're seeing like what this can be, and nights like tonight show you. Because what does this Jazz team do tonight if Darren Peterson is on the floor with them? Or AJ DeBonsa. By the way, AJ DeBonsa, who is absolutely elite drawing fouls, right? Keontae George, elite at drawing fouls. Going to be big time. Markkanen's gotten really good at drawing those fouls, plays physical. The real question is just defense. Can the Jazz be good enough defensively? Which I think so. I'll be honest, I saw some moments from Keontae George that made me really happy defensively tonight. Very solid. I saw some, Ace Bailey got 10 minutes. He's working his way back from the hip flexor. Some nice moments defensively. Lauri Markkanen has some question marks there, I'll be honest, but he is big and he can rebound. So maybe, if he has the effort, can he do it? And Utah, when they have, Walker Kessler, most likely, it's not 100%. I think it's like a 75% chance that Walker Kessler is on the team next year. So very likely that he is. 25% chance that things go haywire. Who knows? But most likely Walker Kessler is going to be back on this team. And then you have just this Jazz team that has a chance to be just elite offensively. Elite. And it's going to be fun to watch. And I think, but that's the question. Can a team of we're just dreaming here. Let's say they win the number 1 and pick Darren Peterson or AJ DeBonsa, but Keontae George 1, Darren Peterson 2, Ace Bailey 3, Lauri Markkanen 4, Walker Kessler 5. First off, my goodness, that's exciting. But second off, can that team defend good enough to win a championship? To win a championship, you've got to be a top 10 defense. Now, if you've got an elite offense like that, what that does is it puts you in half-court situations much more often. When you're making buckets and they have to pull the ball out of the hoop and inbound it, you get set in the half court. That's what you're going to be in the playoffs. You're playing half court basketball because teams just ratchet it up. They're improving their transition defense. You're just not getting easy buckets in the playoffs. You're getting them in half court. That's a team that can score in the half court. Can you defend good enough in the cap? Can you get stops? Kind of like the Thunder did tonight. When you're down 4 with a minute left, can you get a stop and score and get a stop and score? Right? And that's what Utah's going to have to figure out next year and beyond. Guys, I'm telling you, if they win the lottery this year, and I have a good feeling, we're looking at something special. We're looking at potential golden age for the Utah Jazz. Really exciting stuff. And nights like tonight really show it. I was really happy with Cody Williams. Guys, I'm getting pretty excited about this guy. He is just contributing in ways that we were not seeing before. The confidence is there. It really feels like that one dunk he did, and I can't even remember what night it is. I'll have to look at it. But it changed everything. Because I think he just learned, you know what? I can impact this game. And he has started dunking that ball. He's playing with aggression. Is he playing perfectly? No. Is he making mistakes? Yes. But what he is doing is playing with confidence. He's playing with aggression. It's what you want. A night like tonight, Cody Williams 2 for 4 from the field, 1 for 2 from 3 in just 13 minutes. He scores 5 points, but he has 3 rebounds, a steal, 2 blocked shots. This is a player that you want to get on the floor because he brings defense and offense. That's what we kind of hoped for Cody Williams, right? Now, maybe he can eventually work his way into starter minutes. Who knows? Who knows? But I tell you what, I want this Utah Jazz team to trade Svi Mikhailuk. I want them to trade Kevin Love. I want them to trade Yusuf Nurkic so we can get guys like Cody Williams and Taylor Hendricks more minutes. I would love to see Cody Williams get some starting minutes next to Keontae George, or at least more minutes off the bench. But tonight, 13 minutes against the Oklahoma City Thunder, the reigning champions, and he looked solid. He had some nice plays. He looked like he was contributing in a nice way. Now, minus 13, whatever. I don't care. This was great stuff from Cody Williams. And I think he, in the last 2 weeks, has definitely earned himself another contract. Now, the question will be how much, but I think he's earned it. You just don't give up on guys showing signs like this with his physical tools. You just don't. He is long. He's 6'8". He is long. He is athletic. He defends. And he, 1 for 2 from 3. Great. If he can figure out that 3-point shot, then you've got a really nice player on your hands and someone that you want on the floor in playoff games, in crunch time, because if you can defend and also hit threes, that's amazing. There was one point in this game that it just made my heart happy, where you had Ace Bailey, Cody Williams, and Taylor Hendricks all on the floor, all defending, length, defense, and shooting from all three, and it was pretty cool. I'm not going to lie. It was like, this is just a cool little moment, and it was awesome. And if all three of those players pan out, and I have really high hopes for Ace Bailey. I think he's just going to get I think Ace Bailey's just going to get a little bit better every single season, and it's going to be fun. I'm really excited, guys. Nights like tonight, this was just a perfect night because Utah in the Tankathon standings holds that 6th spot, but then looked amazing against a Thunder team. And if you add the piece that we want to get from this mock draft, whether it's one of these top 4 guys, I'll tell you what, Caleb Wilson might be number 3 for me, by the way. You put Caleb Wilson on this Jazz team with this core, my goodness, are they fun. So much fun. So much fun. And then we're not even talking about like a Cam Boozer, Darren Peterson, and AJ DeBonsa. Things get really exciting. So Isaiah Collier played solid. Like I said, I was really happy to see him just running point. He gets 5 assists. He's an assist machine, in all honesty. And it's just nice to have him on the floor playing next to Keontae George. Utah's got some interesting decisions in the future because Collier and Clayton are playing pretty well. And, if Collier is hitting his threes, he only took 1 tonight, but missed it. But he's been shooting a better percentage this year. I don't know. They're 2 guys that you want to just keep on the team if you can. Now, who knows how long Collier and Clayton are going to just continue. It looks like they're just going to continue to improve, and it's a nice problem to have. But Utah's going to have a nice guard rotation in the future. Really nice. And if they win this lottery, please, basketball gods, please. Utah has such a nice team to look forward to. And then this offseason, Utah will have cap space. They can go get another guy that fits a need. If they need, who knows? That's talk for another day, but Utah's going to be a good team next year, guys. It's pretty exciting stuff. Filipowski played 4 minutes tonight. He has not played well recently. I have to say, Utah was trying to win this game, and 4 minutes for Kyle Filipowski. He's just not got the elevation or the athleticism to really compete with some of the best teams. Off the bench, he's fine, but 4 minutes tonight, 1 for 6 from the field, just not great. He did have 5 rebounds, but he's struggling. I don't know. I would much rather have Taylor Hendricks on the floor because he's hitting his threes and he's athletic and he had some nice block shots. So I don't know. We'll see what happens, but Filipowski's really struggled. Like I said, Ace Bailey, he played 10 minutes in this one. I felt like he had some nice little moments. That pull-up mid-range is just nice, and we know that he can shoot the three already. Free throws, he didn't have any, but not a lot to say with Ace Bailey. It was 10 minutes. He's just so unselfish, and he's defending at a pretty decent level. I mean, he was only a -2. Yes, it's 10 minutes, but everyone else off the bench, -13, -13, -13 for Hendricks, just -2 for Ace Bailey. He's defending. It's nice to see. Like I mentioned, Taylor Hendricks, I was really happy that he got these 14 minutes because I felt like they were great minutes. And a lot of these were at the center spot. That was exciting to see. He had a nice two block shots protecting the rim. That's a pretty good sign. You can see that he's got some learning to do, and just I noticed like there was a few shots inside where he's got to learn to have some game near the basket, whether it's a little baby hook shot, whether he just uses his strength to kind of force his way inside to get an easy, two, whatever. He can shoot the three for sure. So he spreads the floor. It allows the Jazz to have a 5 out. And I thought it was just nice to see him get those minutes. He needs the development, because if he can develop in that way and he can give you minutes at the center and you can go 5 out, it's pretty exciting. At the end of the game, I was kind of surprised. Hardy went with Markkanen at center during overtime. And I kind of would have liked to see Taylor Hendricks get that center spot, because I don't think he was as bad as maybe the broadcast was saying. But -13, he was making mistakes. I don't know. I think he brings more defense than Markkanen, that's for dang sure. But he does have, there are a few times where you're like, there's some turnovers that he had. He had 2 turnovers tonight where he's kind of playing from that center spot from the top, where Will Hardy has the center play and makes some passes to cutters. He was kind of forcing it a little bit, but the passes weren't quite there. But and there were mistakes, and that's probably why he sat and whatever. What I do like is he got 14 really good minutes against a really good Oklahoma City Thunder team, and he made some nice plays, and he looked like he belonged. He's like one of those players where you're like, you can see where he can go if he just gets the time. So, nice job by Taylor Hendricks. Finally, Walter Clayton was awesome. There's been nights this season where he looks absolutely like an absolute baller, and there's some nights where he looks like you can't keep him on the floor. Tonight, against this Thunder team, he was great. 5 for 11 from the field, 4 for 7 from 3. He hit that big-time 3 at the end of the game. Missed one in overtime. That's okay. Utah in general looked tired, but just really nice stuff from Walter Clayton. 4 assists, 6 rebounds, 15 points, and a blocked shot. He just is a baller. And I think we're just going to see him get better and better, more comfortable, and find ways to contribute. He might be almost too good come the end of the season. Utah might need to worry, because he's the guy that can win you some games at the end of the season. And it's why I don't think Utah's going to be top 3 or 4. Most likely, maybe Utah can get 3 or 4. But Walter Clayton's going to get some minutes, and he's a good player. And so we'll see. That's it for tonight, guys. I'm not feeling the greatest. I was a little sick last show. I'm a little not the best tonight, but this was fun. Sorry it was a late one, but it's okay. All right, guys, let's see. Let's do our thing and see. Let's see. Did I close it out? Yes, I did. Dang it. Let's pull up the music. By the way, if you're new here, like the video, subscribe to the channel. I got to change the title of this one quick, but yeah, Utah played well tonight. And let's see what would happen if the lottery was today. If the lottery was today, what would happen? Oh my gosh. Utah drops 3 spots and gives the pick to Oklahoma City. That is crazy bad odds. I don't think that'll happen, but that's why getting to the 4 spot matters. I hope you're watching. Jazz front office. We just lost the pick. Utah needs to keep that pick because getting someone like Yusufu, Koa Pete is going to be important. At least the Pacers drop 4 spots. That's crazy. If Atlanta gets Cam Boozer with the Bucks pick, that's crazy. And they get the Pelicans pick. Oh wait, that's because they get the better of the 2. So that means the Bucks would get the number 6 pick. The Bucks got to be pretty happy with something like that. All right, guys. Let's give a shout out to the All-Stars, and then we'll call this a night. Let's give a shout out to See Ya, Alexa Later, Ryan Perry, the legend, name means king, Jace the Ace Garner, Steve Areno, Stu Sir, Let Him Cook Sturdy Pots, Ezekiel Raicibe, the man from down under, Tyson Price, The Price is Right, Jordan the Goat, Besserell, Christian House, Money to Haas, Robert, Hall of Fame, Arcs Poetica, Austin R. Grant, Editor Extraordinaire, Key4 3 at PG, the OG, and Patrick Akubo, the connoisseur. Guys, like the video, subscribe to the channel. I